In finance, we prefer to use our own terminology. And that's why we discover that, in general, people use the word buy and sell. But in finance, the word buy, we use the terminology called long position. So long position, it means buy. And to sell, we use the word short position. And that's why, in order to remember, short starts with S, so it will be for sellers. The other one will be for buyers. So let's look at long position and different position in derivatives contracts, such as forward and futures. So if you go into long position, it means that you will buy. So if you will buy, this means that I will fix the price today and I will buy it in the future. Therefore, what will happen if the future price go up? I will already pay the low price in the contract. Therefore, you will discover that if you are the buyer, if the price in the market in the future increases, you will make a gain. If the future price decreases than the contract price, you will make a loss. That's why we have a positive relationship between price and gain if you are the buyer. And this, think about it logically. Every time you'd like to buy anything, if the price increases above the price you are going to purchase at, this means that you make extra gain. If the price decreases than the price you're going to pay, it means that you make a loss. Therefore, we have a positive relationship between the price and gain. The second thing we want to emphasize here is forwards and futures contracts are considered binding contracts. What do you mean by the word binding? Binding, it means that you are obliged to exercise the contract. Either you make a gain or loss. Therefore, if you make a gain, you will have extra money. If you make a loss, you cannot say, sorry, I don't want to exercise. You are obliged to exercise, either you make a gain or loss. And that's why when we talk about forwards and futures, these contracts are considered zero-sum game. What do you mean by zero-sum game? It means that if some party will be a winner, which means they make a gain, the other party, the counterparty, will be a loser. It means that you make a loss, which means both parties in the same contract, they cannot be both winners or be both losers. One must win, the other one must lose. And that's why these contracts, forwards and futures contracts, are considered binding contracts. So when we talk about buyers, we said that we have a positive relationship between future price in the market and gains. Therefore, if we'd like to draw it, our curve will be upward slope or downward slope. It will be upward slope. Therefore, we will put here our market price, which we call it underlying price, and we will draw here upward slope. Therefore, what will be our formula for a gain or loss? If our underlying price, it refers to the future price in the market, minus the contract price, or we can call it exercise price or strike price. This is the price we agreed upon in the contract. So this will give you the gain or loss per unit. If I would like to calculate the total gain or loss, I need to multiply it by quantity. Therefore, our formula for gain or loss, it will be U. U refers to underlying price, which is the price prevailing in the market in the future, minus K. K refers to the contract price, the price we agreed upon in the contract, or we can call it exercise price or strike price. This will give you the gain or loss per unit. If I'd like to get total gain or loss, we need to multiply it by the quantity. Therefore, if the underlying price is equal to the contract price, it means that we don't make a gain or loss. Therefore, this will be our point here. It means that here we have gain, here we have loss, so it will be here 0. So let's apply the example of gold. Let's assume that we agreed that the contract price for the gold is $1,000. Then we discover that after 3 months, which is our maturity date or expiration date, the underlying price is $1,200. Therefore, we make a gain or loss. 1,200 minus 1,000, so this will give us 200. Therefore, I will write here under K 1,000. I will put here 1,200. I will go up and this will give us a gain or loss per unit of 200. If I would like to calculate the total gain or loss, I need to know how many kilos we will buy. What's the quantity? So the quantity, let's assume that 10. So it will be 200 times 10. It will give us 2000. What will happen if the contract price is $1,000, but the underlying price, which is the market price in the future, is 700? So 700 minus 1,000, we will make a loss of 300. Therefore, I know that if the price decreases than the contract price, therefore we will make a loss. So right here, negative 300. And this is the loss per unit. If I'd like to get my total loss, I need to multiply by the quantity. If the quantity is 10 kilo, so this will give us negative 3000, or we will make a loss of 3000. So we discussed the buyer position or the long position. Let's discuss the seller position, which we call it short position. So if you are a seller, you're going to sell the product. It means that you will go into a short position. Therefore, what will happen if the price increase? It means that you are going to sell at a price below than the market price. So this means that you will make a loss. But what will happen if the price in the future decreases? It means that the price in the future in the market will be lower than the contract price. So this means that you're going to sell at a higher price compared to everyone else in the market. So this means that you make a gain. Therefore, what will be the relationship between the price and gain? It will be a negative relationship for sellers. Remember that we said that forwards and futures contracts are considered binding. What do I mean by the word binding? It means that you are obliged to exercise. Either you make a gain or loss. Also, forwards and futures contracts are considered zero-sum game. What do I mean by zero-sum game? It means that if here we have buyers and here we have the seller, long position and short position. If the price increase, buyers will make a gain, but sellers will make a loss. If the price decrease, sellers will make a gain, but buyers will make a loss. Which means in the same contract, buyers and sellers cannot both win, cannot both lose. One must be a winner, the other one must be a loser. So for short position, we know that there is a negative relationship between price and gain, which means if the price decrease, they make gain, but if the price increase, their gain will be lower and it will turn into a loss. Therefore, if we'd like to draw it, it will be upward slope or downward slope. It will be downward slope. So if we draw it here, so here we have the underlying price, which is the future market price, and this is our zero. Above zero is gain, below zero is loss. And we draw here a downward slope. So what will be the formula of gain or loss for short position or the seller? The gain or loss will be equal to the contract price, which is called the exercise price or strike price, minus underlying price, which means the price that will be prevailing in the market in the future when the contract reaches its maturity or expiration date. This will give you the gain or loss per unit. If I'd like to get total gain or loss, so multiplied by quantity. Therefore, if I'd like to use symbols, gain or loss G/L is equal to K, which is the contract price, minus U underlying price. All of this will give you the gain or loss per unit to get total gain or loss multiplied by quantity. So let's assume that our contract price here is $1,000 for gold. And then after 3 months, which is our expiration date or maturity date, the market price increased and it became 1,200. Therefore, for you as a seller having a short position, you'll make a gain or loss. 1,000 minus 1,200, it will give you 200. So this means that you will make a loss. And this 200 is per unit. So here our K is equal to 1,000. If the price in the contract is the same as in the market in the future, we will make no gain, no loss. It will be zero. But if the price increase here to be 1,200, we will go down here, we will intersect, and this will give us negative 200. It means that at contract price 1,000, and underlying price 1200, the buyer will make a gain of 200, the seller will make a loss of 200 per unit. If you would like to get total gain or loss, multiply it here by the total quantity. Let's assume that the total quantity is 10 kilogram of gold, so this will give us here negative $2,000. But what if I told you that the contract price is $1,000, but the future price decreased to 700? So what will be your gain or loss per unit? 1,000 minus 700, it will be 300. So this means that if the price decreases here, we will go up till we intersect with our curve, and this will give us here 300. It means that we will make a gain. Consequently, for a seller, if the price decrease, you make a gain. If the price increase, you make a loss. And here we have a gain of $300 per unit. If you'd like to get total gain or loss, so I will get here 1,000 minus 700 multiplied by quantity. Let's assume the quantity is 10. So this will give us 3,000. Therefore, if we'd like to make the formula here of gain or loss is equal to, for the buyer, we get U minus K. This will be per unit multiplied by quantity. U is the underlying price, which is the price in the market in the future, minus K is the contract price or exercise price or strike price. For the seller or the short position, it will be the opposite. So it will be K minus U, which is the contract price minus underlying price. This will give you gain or loss per unit. To get the total gain or loss multiplied by quantity. Usually in the graph, we draw it as gain or loss per unit. But you can say total gain or loss if you'd like to put the total. But usually we refer to per unit gain or loss.